weekly dose of politics,
snark, and heavy metal music.
All rise, motherfucker.
For your hosts, Brandon
and Matt.
Hide the rum.
Performer hasn't been provided with a script. As a matter of fact, I have been permitted to choose my own words and discuss my own ideas regarding the choice that we face in the next few weeks. I have spent most of my life as a Democrat. I recently have seen fit to follow another course.
The defense policy of the United States is based on a simple premise. The United States does not start fights. We will never be an aggressor.
As for the peace that we would preserve, I wonder who among us would like to approach the wife or mother whose husband or son has died in South Vietnam and ask them if they think this is a peace that should be maintained indefinitely. There can be no real peace while one American is dying someplace in the world for the rest of us. We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I must protect and preserve freedom here, or it will not be passed on to our children, and it will disappear everywhere in the world.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. Regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose.
We, the people. We, the people, tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We, the people, are the driver. The government is the car. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do.
This administration in Washington has betrayed the working men and women of this country.
I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts.
A recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours. And recovery is when President of the United States loses his.
Someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. The martyrs of history were not fools. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the machine. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Matt.
And we're laughing because we haven't even said anything yet, and we've already been tagged by some name on YouTube. like literally, we haven't even said anything yet, you fucking assholes. Anyhow, how's everybody doing? We're doing for shit, I'll be honest with you on that one, because, well, we don't have much of anything to talk about. In terms of news cycle, this has been the slowest, most boring fucking week I think I've ever had. And I mean, we've only got a couple articles up. We're only going to talk about some random stuff, and then basically we're going to talk about what you guys want to talk about, or just talk about random shit altogether. Because yes, we're in winter. We now have a firm grasp for the obvious. Yes, it's cold. Sorry. But yeah, we just ain't got nothing. I think we got what, three articles in total.
I think so.
If that, yeah, this is going to be a fucking slow news cycle. But we'll get through it like we usually do. At least if my bottom teeth don't stop fucking trying to jump out of my face. I mean, like this. Seriously, I keep moving. See, they did it again. I was like, I'll start talking, they'll start working out. I'm like, no, motherfucker. Got to put them back. It's hell getting older, I'm telling you. But we already know what today is. We might as well start with that. We know what today is. It's January 6th. You know, the anniversary of and I use the term loosely because it doesn't even actually match by definition, but the insurrection, the resurrection, whatever it is. Close enough. The insurrection, you know, that terrible thing. I mean, it's like the worst insurrection in history, by the way, because not a person was armed and they were just busy taking selfies in the rotunda. But, you know, that's what they're calling it, at least. We'll go with what they're calling it, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they really have went out of their way for this one. I mean, they did a candlelight vigil on the steps of the Capitol.
Yeah,
which is interesting to say the least. I was watching a video of that and like, are you fucking kidding me? And then you have the vice president come out and likening it to December 7th and September 11th. Yes, she actually did that, said that. It's kind of funny.
not even remotely close.
Yeah, they're not even close to the same. I mean, one was a surprise attack by an outside source that killed thousands of people and thrust us into a Second World War. Mm-hmm. The other one killed 3,000 plus people by an outside source and thrust us into the Middle East. This one was a bunch of people taking selfies in the rotunda. And furthermore, not a single person that was there at all has been charged with terrorism and or qualities of an insurrection, so to speak. In fact, most of them are getting misdemeanors, have gotten misdemeanors for just being on what they consider private property for taking a selfie in place they weren't supposed to be in, apparently. That's pretty much all there is to what went on. So, today it was just like, I mean, every single leftist was just jerking themselves off. I mean, it was impressive just kind of watching the news. I'm pretty sure, they were like Don Lemon and them,
I've been dropping loads around this fucking house like a dump truck.
But I think Sean's bombing us.
What I like what Sean said here. He says, "Aren't we the gun culture on the right?" The hypothetical, if half that crowd was packing heat, would have been a massacre.
Right. That is our point exactly. Not one of them was armed. They walked in, they took selfies, and they left. There was no, full-on car fires or anything of that sort at all. And they keep bringing this stuff up, and they don't remember that when Trump was inaugurated, that they did try to burn down the city, And they were violent, extremely violent. And there were open car fires and other things. But see, that's the thing is, you got two people, okay? Or two groups, I guess. You got the, let's just say protester and rioter. If protester is usually marked with the letter D and rioter is marked with the letter R. Why? Because that's how the media and that's how the progressive Democrats portray it as, mostly, remember, the mostly peaceful protests. Billions of dollars in damage, multiple people injured, several people murdered.
Cities on fire.
Just billions and billions of dollars of damage, but it's fiery and mostly peaceful. Looks like fucking Mogadishu in there, and they're like, oh no, it's fine. Oh, I said Mogadishu. Watch, somebody's going to turn that into a racial thing.
Wait and see if we get tagged here.
We probably will, and some like I said, somebody's going to bring it up and say, hey Brian, how you doing? I didn't even see you pop in there. Actually, it's weird because it just now popped up on my screen.
I had that issue last week.
But seriously, watch. You watch. Somebody's going to be like, well, he used Seaside Mogadishu, and that's racist because that was over there with black people. I'm like, no, that's not why I said it. I said it looked like Mogadishu because Mogadishu is a shithole, regardless of who lives in it. We'll get into the semantics of that one later, but still, I'm waiting to hear that. Okay, well, I'm sorry. It looks like here. Does it make you feel better if I say Berlin? No, okay. But what about Stalingrad? No, okay.
That's insensitive.
Well, there's no pleasing you. But seriously, this is what they were likening it to, though, was all these major things. I think even the bill for the damage to the building with everybody walking through and the busting, the windows being busted out and everything else like that was about I think they said like a 32nd of the price of the Summer of Love. And it wasn't just the BLM, and yeah, I'm saying that because and here we go again. Oh, he racist. He don't like the BLM. No, I don't like the BLM because the BLM don't like the BLM.
True story.
I'm just putting that out there, truthfully. They don't. I'll tell you what. One day when they come out and they say, "Well, all black lives actually do," what the fuck are you doing? It looked like you were trying to reach over and grab me. I was like, "What?" I look up and seen you.
There, I'm a little straighter. Yeah. Oh.
I was going to say something.
Like I looked over and like half my head was cut off. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I was going to say something. So you said you looked a little straighter. Well, you know what? Let's take a poll. Does Matt look any straighter? Just asking. He said it, not me. I mean, you didn't ruin my fucking train of thought. But no, back to the whole BLM thing. I'll tell you what. If one day the BLM actually comes out and says we are for all black lives, and they're protesting and rioting and burning down shit because other black people are shooting other black people, like in Chicago and stuff like that. If they're dealing with black on black crimes and they say that those lives truly matter, then some of us will probably get on board. But it'll never happen. And Brian says, "No, you still look gay."
Yes.
That's right. But that's just how I feel about it. They do not care about black lives. They never did.
Yeah. Never.
It's basically a Ponzi scheme that's duped a lot of people into joining, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Into getting their way.
Yeah.
Because they have to come first.
Well, and like I said, when I went up north, and stood in front of the BLM, I was going there trying to think, objectively, like, okay, I want to see what they're all about. And within 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, they're exactly who I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're nothing but a terrorist organization. They acted like terrorists. They did everything in a terroristic manner. And I'm waiting for somebody. Well, no, they didn't burn things or do anything that. And I was like, you know why they didn't that night? Because there was quick response teams,
Right.
and they were everywhere. How do I know? Because I seen one of them in action.
Yeah.
And let me remind you that the only people that were arrested in Kenosha were the BLM, because they were the only ones being violent. They were the only ones causing a problem. Everybody else was just standing there, and they were going out of their way to piss people off. And they were blocking people from going in and out of the building and everything else like that. So, that's on them. What the fuck?
I don't know what the hell that was.
I don't know what that was either. Yeah, he kind of is, I guess. Brian says Matt's wearing a shirt that has your dad's initials on it. Because my dad's Kenneth Eugene.
What's funny is I don't think they can see what it says in between on the letters itself, because it says "keep fucking going."
Yeah. I just do Spreaker. Oh, he's probably Sean was probably referring to the fact is like, does Matt look any gayer than normal?
He just didn't want to respond. That was just a cheap cop out.
Yeah, because he. Yeah. But anyhow, back to what we were saying. I still try to figure out what's in the mind of the progressive. I really do. I really try to get into their mindset. I just can't pull my head out. I can't shove my head that far up my ass. Because everything that I've seen today, everything I've seen in the last couple of days, here we're coming up on the anniversary of the most worst thing that ever happened to the country, and they've been saying this shit. I'm like, wait a minute. Have you been to Minneapolis? Like, what Minneapolis? There wasn't one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did look like an E, not an F.
Yeah, it's because it was all bunched up. I straightened it out.
Oh, boy. But yeah, like I said, aside from the vice president coming out and saying, that about 9/11, about December 7th, how that was the same thing, same feeling, the days that will live in infamy. And I'm like, actually, I really don't think that's going to work out for you, especially in the historical aspect. But then you had the Bride of Chucky that tries to defend Biden and Harris, comparing January 6th to 9/11, and she had no answer to that. She could not. She tried to spin it, but couldn't do it. It's just been fun every day. That's a video clip. But I mean, I guess I could play it. I didn't really download it. But we have other ways of playing it. We can make fun of Bride of Chucky. After 1 second here, people, I'm trying to mess with things. That's better. Okay, here, I'm going to have to turn over my microphone to the speakers here so you can actually hear what the redheaded stepchild says.
In her remarks today, compared January 6th to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Can you elaborate on what the thinking was behind that comparison? She's faced some criticism, especially in conservative circles, for that.
Well, I would first say that, as the president also said in his remarks, if we look back to some very difficult moments in our history, back in 1861, there were no Confederate flags being waved in the Capitol. In very dark moments in our history, there were not people storming our nation's capital, trying to take over the office, and
she forgot about the British.
Right.
Threatened the Speaker of the House. Instead of, for those who are being critics of the Vice President's remarks, I think instead of focusing on or analyzing comparisons of moments in history, I would suggest that they be a part of solving the threat to democracy that occurs today, that is happening today. And they are using this as an excuse not to be a part of it.
See how rather pathetic she is and how she had really no way to spin this? So she basically just called everybody stupid. Well, the Speaker of the House, we can get into that on multiple occasions throughout our lifetime on where they've been threatened and everything else, but where they were actually threatened. Oh, we can go through, we can go to this all day long, but her bringing up, well, in history, it's never happened. It's like, okay, well, yeah, the British kind of did. In fact, they burned most of the White House down.
Mm-hmm.
But, we'll go with that. But the spin was terrible. I mean, there was really no spin in it.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And will this be a day in history? Sure. Will it be that kind of a day in history? No, not even fucking close. I mean, how do you guys feel about it? Yeah, that she did, Sean. But seriously, what do you guys think about this? About her remarks, or about anything about that in general? Matt, you got anything on that?
On her?
Yeah, anything you want to add to that, or thoughts?
I think she did a great job making herself look like an idiot.
Well, she does that just by getting out of bed in the morning, but yeah, thank you, Sean.
Yes.
Actually, I was going to say that too. That's the bad thing. Go ahead.
Sean says, FBI bot, how do you feel about this?
Well, we've said some pretty good buzzwords. I'm waiting for our chat over there on YouTube to start getting hit with the little people again. So far, I haven't seen nothing.
Well, Angie says she thinks it's ridiculous.
Oh, we know, Brian. It's not. We know it's not even close. And he says the real threat is coming from the far left wackos. Well, we've known that for many years, but
it's just more out in the open now.
Mm-hmm.
I just have issues that, even though it's more out in the open now, a good chunk of people consider it normal. Like it's always, that's just how it is.
Right.
Sean.
Well, if they're paying people, you can send them our way, because we kind of need some money to keep the show running. Just saying. It's not cheap. Anyhow, we're going to take a quick break.
one who runs. The line has been drawn. Whose side are you on when we are reinventing hatred? A new heartless nation. Reinventing hatred. Reinventing hatred. A new heartless nation.
You, sir, are not one of my vassals. Who are you?
I am the machine. What? I'm the machine!
Okay.
You are listening to the Machine Radio Show.
Not your daddy's conservative talk radio.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
I'm the machine! Fuck that bitch. This is fuck yeah! Tonight you party with us, yes?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, skate.
And we're back, and we forgot we had to add something else in here along the lines of stupidity, which seems to be what we usually talk about is stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently there's an author out there that's in some deep shit. The author who published basically a book about Kyle Rittenhouse is now under some severe fire. You want to go ahead and lead off on that?
No, because I don't have it pulled up.
Well, fuck you too. All right, we'll sit here and pull dick and wait for Matt.
Or you can start.
Oh no, I'm waiting on you. I gotta keep you up to speed, so I can't just jump on it. Besides, I don't want you to feel left out. Did you find it?
I think.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyhow, you want to lead off on that? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps.
Maybe.
Okay. We'll wait on you.
Ooh, about drop that. Okay. So a reporter discovered that a book about Egypt contained a ginormous lie about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes.
In the book The Good Kings by National Geographic author Kara Cooney, Cooney said that Kyle Rittenhouse used his semi-automatic weapon to kill 2 black men in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while waging a glorious war on behalf of his inherited white power. And as we know, that's all a pile of bullshit.
That is amazing, though. Can you read that one more time, please?
So the book The Good Kings by National Geographic author Kara Cooney said that Kyle Rittenhouse used his semi-automatic weapon to kill 2 black men in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while waging a glorious war on behalf of his inherited white power.
That is like that sounds like something that yeah, never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And of course we know that he actually defended himself against 2 white people. Of course, one of them was a major pedophile.
Yeah, is it kind of coincidental that anytime you go to one of those things that you can throw a rock and hit a pedophile? I mean, every single person that he actually every single person that he tagged were felons. All 3 were violent felons. One of them did, almost a decade in prison for touching little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he's their new hero. By the way, did I tell you that while I was in Kenosha, And they were yelling, justice for these guys. And by the way, they gave him a cute little nickname.
Was it JoJo?
Yeah, justice for JoJo.
JoJo.
I was like, oh, how you gave him a sixth grade nickname, and one of them was actually defending the fact that he liked to fuck little kids. Like he literally said directly to my face that, so what if he was marching for us? It doesn't matter that he likes to touch kids.
Actually, it does, because that reflects on your entire group.
I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it kind of does.
It's like the fact that you're okay with it now makes you all, to us, look like you like to touch little kids.
Right. So anyhow, Kara Cooney decided to respond back on Twitter.
Yeah, because apparently she was quite cross for people making fun of her.
Yes. Her first one was if one mistake in a little known book about ancient Egypt elicits this much howling, it is to avoid discussing on our larger problem, to avoid seeing our deep-seated obsession with patriarchal power. Oh, great, she's a pussy hat wearing freak too.
Yay!
But go ahead and read her second tweet.
Her second tweet said, so yeah, tiny detail of the book with a big mistake about a massive American issue. And that's on me. But the white supremacy is still a problem. And the misogyny is still a problem.
Yes, so we're doubling down on the progressive talking points and still have no fucking idea what the hell's going on. By the way, what the hell is Kyle Rittenhouse doing in a book about ancient Egypt?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm really thoroughly confused about this one. I mean, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And she's like, that was my mistake, and I apologize. But there's more. Go ahead.
The response has been a hateful stew of ridicule and denial that America has a race problem at all. I'm assuming that's what she said.
Yes, it is.
The ridicule was deserved, but I wouldn't call it hateful. Hate requires me to have a strong opinion of you or even remember your name. Your content, make contenty face.
Mm-hmm.
And as for America's race problem, you lying about something doesn't help your case that there is one. God, she really needs the English. Or maybe it wasn't a lie, and you honestly thought that Contenty Face must get her news from CNN, which I actually think she probably does.
Yeah, I believe so.
If one mistake in a little-known book about ancient Egypt...
Oh, by the way, we did get tagged again. Just to let you know.
Sweet. If one mistake in a little-known book about ancient Egypt elicits this much howling, it is to avoid discussing our larger problem, to avoid seeing our deep-seated obsession with patriarchal power. But why is it in a book about ancient Egypt?
Right, and why are we talking about, I guarantee she's got hairy pits.
Oh,
I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, remember that video we looked at the person and like, what the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
They had like most of their head shaved and then had a ponytail in the back and big hairy armpits and shit.
Right, yeah.
I'm picturing that person right now, and this is who, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Kyle is 17, and the reporter who broke the story was a woman, American. I don't know how the patriarchy
this is the
comes
other guy.
into play here other than it was on your woke buzzword of the toilet paper. So yeah, tiny detail of the book with a big mistake about a massive American issue.
Yeah, and the person that's replying to her, this is where they go ahead.
That just begs the question, and I'd still like to know how it happened. Contenty Face can't be the only chucklehead who believed that about Kyle.
Right, and of course, that's when she came out with but white supremacy is still a problem, misogyny is still a problem. None of that was linked to this case at all, so it has no relevancy. So what the fuck? But all right, go ahead.
It's actually the end of it.
Oh, darn it! I was hoping there was some more from her.
Nope, she spoke her piece.
I am totally getting on Twitter.
Oh, she's an Egyptologist.
I'm literally replying to her right now.
Sean says Twitter is decrepit. Hey, Sean, your previous comment I think would make for a great T-shirt. It says "Throat punch for fucking pedo freaks." I don't know. When I first read that, I'm like, that would be a great shirt. I'm just trying to go through, trying to find some information. There isn't actually a whole lot of information about her.
Okay, I had a slight dig. I just want to see if anybody responds. Anyway, let's get back to what we were supposed to be doing here. Yeah, there really isn't much on her, but I'm not really worried about her at all anyway. Aside from the fact that she thought she could slide this one through in a book of ancient Egypt. I mean, that's just...
Yeah.
How do you equate a trial about self-defense in modern times to ancient Egypt, and of course throw in how racist the country supposedly is at the same time when the country didn't exist 3,000 plus years ago? I mean, she's supposed to be a good writer, but apparently she don't know shit. I think what she does is she reads other people's books and then takes little snippets out of them and writes her own. Because she can't be doing it any other way, because she's definitely not fucking keeping her head on her shoulders. Go ahead.
Yeah, as I say, oh, that's not what I wanted. So something I pulled up about her, and I lost it.
Angie, I still question whether or not she even went to overseas to start writing her books, because I believe she sat there and just started reading random books. And we got tagged again. Fuck you, YouTube. I'm telling you, I think she's just one of those people that goes to a local library and reads little snippets and be like, okay, yeah, that I'm going to add a little bit more to it though, and make it sound like it's my own. I think that's what she's doing. No, she makes your average blogger look intelligent, and we'll get into other bloggers here after a while. Matt's in deep thought.
Undergraduate, these are some of her courses. The number one on here is Women in Power in Ancient World. A lot of women didn't have power in the ancient world. Art and Architecture of Ancient Egypt, Ancient Egyptian Civilization.
Yeah, about the only person would have been Cleopatra, and even she didn't have a lot of power, and she was murdered.
Right.
So,
I mean, this lady's written a lot of articles, and she's written like a couple of books.
Right.
And she is actually from County Cork, Ireland. That's where she was. I'm sorry, that's where her paternal grandparents are from.
Okay.
She's named after her Irish Protestant grandmother, who was disowned by her family.
I'm pretty sure the family's probably disowning this one too.
Her mother is Italian. Her grandfather's from Naples.
Oh, please no, Sean. Just no.
Oh, is he sending you stuff?
Yes. No, I can't. I can't, Sean. That's terrible. I don't think I can waste airtime on that. Oh no. But that's definitely something we'll be checking into. Go ahead.
I really don't have anything
You
else
really
on this
don't
lady.
have anything else. See, this is going to be a train wreck of a night.
Yeah.
Because we got nothing.
Yeah, I would say honestly, she's not what I would have expected. Like seeing pictures of her.
Yeah, I was picturing a hairy-pitted Yeti.
Yeah, and that's quite the opposite.
So she's a part of the patriarchy. She talks evil about the patriarchy, but she dolls herself up and shaves bodily parts. So isn't that a part of the patriarchy? Isn't that what they say?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what the pink-hatted Fruit Loops usually say? I'm just going by what they what they do on on television. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm still kind of really confused on how this has to do with ancient Egypt.
I don't know. Maybe we know. Maybe we don't. Because, the whole premise that she went by, which was white supremacy, didn't fit in ancient Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they thought they were the kings, and they clashed with the Romans, who thought they were the kings in the ancient world. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, I guess you can expect a ginormous lawsuit coming her way soon.
You haven't said it.
Which one?
I don't know. Any of it.
Well, the one's about throat punching somebody.
Yes, I like that.
But the other one says it's not, but the artists, and he has that in quotes, are true believers on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. The Twitterverse does not disappoint. I'll tell you that right now. I have went through, because I was in Farsbuckle's Gulag for the 7th time this year last year with, shut up.
Common, what are you doing out? Get the fuck back in there.
Yeah. And I probably will be too. I'm waiting for them just to ban my profile altogether. Good thing I got a backup. But yeah, for my 7th 30-day stint of last year, it just, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Go for it.
About what?
About anything we're talking about here. I mean, come on, don't fuck with me. But I spent a lot of time on Twitter because of that, because I was still in the Facebook's jail, and I had to check it. I had to check it out. I was like, everybody keeps telling me that Facebook bad, but Twitter worse.
And it is. Twitter is worse.
Holy shit! These people are fucking insane. I have had. He's seen some of the ones. I'll send him screenshots. I'm like, dude, seriously, check this out. It gets downright ugly and stupid, and not one of them, I swear, has an education above 3rd grade. I mean, if you want to see stupidity, just get on to anything on Twitter, anything at all. It doesn't matter what it is; they will twist it into something the progressive would do. Literally anything. You guys know me. I'm a big fan of racing, so I got a lot of racing pages and stuff like that, even on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking through. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool picture of of the IndyCar in 2020 or 2019 or whatever else like that. I'm looking through, and all of a sudden it said, we need more diversity in IndyCar. I'm like, what? And they actually broke it down. There's too many white people in IndyCar. I was like, only if Helio Castroneves was breeding this right now, or something like But I'm like, they go on merit. You actually have to know how to drive a race car to get into IndyCar. So it's not their fault that not a lot of people have qualified to make that run. By the way, let's ram home that whole thing with, the splits between the colors and everything else like that, the numbers. There is more white. So it's kind of more likely that there's going to be a white person driving that vehicle. But they broke it down and said, well, it's race. The whole series is racist because they don't have any black drivers. Like, they have. Just not right now. I was like, again, you know, I was talking about several of them who are not white, but they're the wrong shade of brown. But they'll turn anything into a racial issue. They'll turn anything into a, well, like that woman said, patriarchal issue. There's no women in IndyCar. I was like, yes, actually there is. But, you know, it's still on merit. You got to be able to drive. I mean, for crying out loud, they let Danica Patrick behind the wheel, and that's terrifying. There ain't a damn thing on the track that woman didn't hit. She was terrifying, but anyhow, go ahead.
And Sean talking about the people on Twitter, he says they have no regards for logic as they can openly defy gravity. He was talking about like you're not wrong in what you're saying.
No, I know.
More diversity in racing, huh? That's like saying we need more diversity in serial killings. No, because most of them are done by white people.
Right. Yeah, there was an amazing amount of crazy shit that I was reading. I'm like, oh my God, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Twitter's a cesspool.
Yeah, it's definitely a shithole. I'm going to have to agree with that. But either way, you know, somebody's like, well, don't get sucked in. I'm like, no, this is too good. I'm watching this shit. Like, this is really getting interesting. Trying to find a song. You know what? I feel like it, so I'm playing it. Anyhow, we're going to take a break and figure out what the fuck else we're going to talk about. So we'll be right back.
Said, don't you know, I'm so sick of you. The other things
What you listening to?
The Machine Radio Show.
What did you say? I didn't stutter. I said
The Machine Radio Show.
You just blew my mind.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the show.
And we're back, and something popped up, and we just can't not go back and talk about this one little point. Of course, Norm Macdonald, you know. Yeah, you know, everybody knows who Norm Macdonald is. It's a photo of the Capitol insurrection, and he has a very valid point. We didn't catch it. I don't know why we didn't catch it now, and we didn't catch it last year. He says, I loved when the violent terrorist made sure to respect the velvet ropes in Statuary Hall. They're actually walking through the fucking ropes.
Yeah. They are.
And I was like, wait a minute. And I clicked back and looked at the photo of the guy carrying the podium, and even he's in the fucking velvet robes.
Yep.
Worst resurrection. Worst insurrection ever. Worst erection ever, I guess. I mean, whatever you want to go with.
Whatever floats your boat.
Ooh, I got a response.
You did?
Oh, no.
It was a like.
Damn it. I was hoping I got a response, but no. That's not what I got at all. Let's see. And since I did kind of get, unfortunately, kind of segue into some sort of a, racial talk here, because, we got to have that diversity in everything.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Post, it's an article from them. We're just gonna have to get into it. It says NYC will consider race when distributing life-saving COVID treatments. Dead serious. This is what they're gonna do. New York City will take a patient's race into account when distributing potentially life-saving COVID treatments, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene revealed on their website. The city will consider race and ethnicity when assessing individual risk. Reads the agency's official guidance from December 20th, which adds that long-standing systemic stuff again. Systemic health and social inequities, can contribute to an increased risk of dying from COVID-19. So the guidance applies to both the distribution of monoclonal antibodies and oral antivirals like Paxlovid and whatever fucking that name is. Monoclonal antibody treatments have averted at least 1,100 hospitalizations and 500 deaths among people treated in New York City. But this is a race-based approach. In other words, this is, how do we put it, reverse racism. It's racism, but this is what they would consider reverse racism. Guess what? You white? Oh, you dying.
Yep.
Because there's somebody else in line.
We need to thin the herd.
Yeah. If you'd like to continue, sir.
One Staten Island doctor said he filled 2 prescriptions of Paxlovid this week and was asked by the pharmacist to disclose the race of his patients before the treatment was authorized. Wow. The doctor said, in my 30 years of being a physician, I have never been asked that question when I have prescribed any treatment. The mere fact of having to ask this question is a slippery slope. But both patients who were white were ultimately granted their prescriptions.
Regardless, they shouldn't be asking questions like that.
Yeah.
It also amazes me along those lines that the people are saying, well, healthcare is a human right. Everybody should have it, or the first ones to say, well, if you're unvaccinated, you shouldn't be able to go to the hospital. You should just die at home, and you're not allowed to do anything, so bye. I mean, they're the first ones to say that.
But But I don't have any underlying medical conditions. I'm not going to die at home. I'm proof because I'm sitting here right now.
Right, but healthcare is a human right, and if you do get sick, you should be able to go to the hospital. And they're saying you shouldn't do that. Go ahead.
A recent request for proposals form on behalf of the City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene stressed the agency's commitment to racial equity. The DOHMH is committed to improving health outcomes for all New Yorkers by explicitly advancing racial equity and social justice. Racial equity does not mean simply treating everyone equally, but rather allocating resources and services in such a way that explicitly addresses barriers imposed by structural racism and white privilege.
Yes, because healthcare is a white privilege thing. You know, you go in, you know, when you're sick or you're injured or anything else like that, and because you're white and it happened to you, it's privilege that you're there in the first place. That's what they're fucking trying to say.
Or maybe it's just the simple fact that I have a job. Just saying.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
It is unclear if the new race guidance has yet to exclude whites from getting treatment, but observers and doctors fear that a system is being created that could lead to racial exclusions in the future during a drug shortage or case surge. And I absolutely could see that happening.
Yeah. Same here.
We are collecting demographic data on COVID antivirals at the request of the city for anonymized data reporting purposes only, as is commonly done with a COVID tests and vaccines. And that was Michael Kruger, who is a pharmacy rep. It says, for now, the city is participating exclusively with Alto Pharmacy to distribute the new drugs.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, medical experts are even saying that it's correct for COVID treatment to be allocated based on who is at a higher risk, but stress that race is not a biological risk factor. Martin Kulldorff said, I have not seen race as one of the risk factors for severe disease and death. The reason that a lot of African Americans have died in New York, which is true, is because rich people and more affluent were working from home while the working class were exposed. The lockdowns have discriminated against minorities. Basically, they have discriminated against the working class, and minorities are a bigger proportion of the working class. In a public notice, the State Department of Health said last week that non-white race or Hispanic Latino ethnicity should be considered a risk factor, putting it in a class with other COVID risk factors like age and obesity. There are severe supply shortages for all COVID-19 outpatient therapeutics, warns city health officials who urge providers to follow the state guidelines. Let's see. No. That could have went bad. The directives follow a slew of new laws signed by Governor, what the fuck is his name? Hochul?
Where the fuck are you? I was trying to. People that are listening are actually fucking texting me.
Tell them to get in the chat room.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I keep saying. It's like, get in the chat room. Leave me alone. Hochul. Yeah, whatever.
Hochul aimed at addressing discrimination and racial injustice. One of the new edicts formally declares racism to be a public health crisis. Andrew Giuliani said, it's just absurd, and it shows this is not about public health. This has not been about the health of New Yorkers from the get-go. Politics before the health and safety of New Yorkers. It continues from Cuomo administration to the Hochul administration with these new laws. New Yorkers of color have borne the brunt of this pandemic due to structural racism and the legacy of disinvestment in many minority communities. Michael Lanza, the city health department spokesman, said doctors are advised to consider the disproportionate impact felt by these communities in addition to systemic health disparities when prescribing treatments for people who are at highest risk for severe COVID-19 outcomes.
Okay, how about we just do our jobs and treat people who are sick when they come in, regardless of where the fuck they're from, what color they are, and all that good shit. Huh? Can we do that? Can we go back to the original healthcare system where everybody was treated equally? Maybe. Instead of this progressive wokeness. I'm just asking. I mean, because I think that'd be the right course of action to do.
Lanza also added that the data was only being collected to assess equitable distribution and that race would never be used as a reason to deny treatment. I call bullshit on that. Antiviral treatment for coronavirus infection represents the cutting edge of treatment for the virus. Interest in therapeutics has peaked with the arrival of the new Omicron variant and its widespread ability to evade the vaccine.
Oh, you mean the vaccine? Oh, wait, did they just say that the vaccine doesn't work?
Right. They just said it doesn't work.
Oh, that's terrible.
And that's coming out more and more, too.
Yes, we were talking about that earlier. Remember, I wrote down notes. And I'm going to use pro sports as an example because they're all in really good shape, right? You know, NFL, NHL, NBA, all them guys.
Yeah.
Good shape, right?
That's their job, is to be in shape.
Okay, well, the NHL is 100% stabbed. The NBA, 97% stabbed, and the NFL, 95% stabbed. Yet they're having these unbelievable surges of COVID at great length. They're seeing a very large spike in cases. So it's definitely not an unvaxxed problem like they keep trying to say it is. It is not the pandemic of the unstabbed because actually by definition the pandemic means that regardless of your viral status, that antiviral status, that you are in fact still getting it and are capable of spreading it. So that's a misnomer. That's just a lie that they keep producing, thinking that this stabby is going to save the planet, which is actually doing quite the opposite. I mean, Australia has went full gangbusters. I mean, they're busting people left and right for not being vaccinated, and most of the country down there is vaccinated, and anybody who isn't has been cut off from society, yet it's running rampant like wildfire down there. So what's working and what isn't? I want to know. And I've never met or seen. Fuck it, my brain shorted. Never seen or experienced a stab of sorts that requires you to get it 5 times in less than a year.
Right.
Never.
Even all the stabs we get growing up, it's like spread out over so many years. Like you get one this year, and a couple of years later, you'll get the second one, and then you're done.
Right. And, I brought that up. I was like, if it's just so effective, then Australia should be the model for the entire world to watch, and it's being quite exactly the opposite. Even though they're trying to do that shit here on a smaller scale right now, but they're still trying to push it. And I've never seen a boosty shot or anything else like that after 90 days only has about a 26% success rate, and then you gotta get stabbed with another one. So basically, that's exactly what they're saying too. Every 90 days, go and get a booster. That's insane. That is going to cause autoimmune deficiencies like you wouldn't fucking believe, because that's exactly what happens when you have too many.
Yeah. People end up dying from the common cold.
Yeah. But, what do we know? We just don't know how to read or nothing.
I would say everybody should be watching what's going on in Australia.
Yeah, some scary shit.
Mm-hmm. Kind of going back to the insurrection thing, listener Sean had a post here. He says, think about it. The same scenario at Disney World. Keep the ride in this lane, sir.
Right, exactly. But, I do have family members that are ill, from it and everything else like that. So I was actually asked, I was like, have you changed your thoughts on the stabby stab yet? And I'm like, no. Well, why not? People, I was like, I know several people that are, but no. Well, why? Because I can read and I can understand, science enough to know that this is not working. This is only causing issues, and we don't even know what the full amount of side effects are. So therefore, I'm unwilling to take that chance. And also with the mRNA style stuff, if you have natural immunity and you get the stab, your natural immunity goes to shit. So, not really wanting to wreck my immune system at this point in time. Okay, is that easy to understand, Matt? Is it hard to understand?
Not at all.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, the people on the Twitterverse think otherwise.
Well, they're a different breed.
Remember, I'm killing old people. Yeah.
Those are also the same people that tell you all vaccines don't really work.
Yes.
Have you ran into them?
Yes, I have. Well, the polio vaccine, I'm like, oh, dear Jesus.
I always like to ask them, so you've had polio?
I did that, actually. I was like, so who do you know that has polio right now? Well, it didn't work when it first started. I'm like, yeah, actually it did. That's why they kept using the same one. They never actually altered it. They just upped the dosage a little bit. And it worked. And like, no, that's not what. Seriously, because I just read from the medical fucking journal. Literally read from the medical journal, not from an obscure website. From the medical journal on the polio vaccination.
I like to ask him sometimes, have you been watching CNN? That lights them up. That gets them real spicy.
No, I usually just piss them off when I say, "Your papers, please." Like, that's not how it. They go. Their minds immediately go to fucking left field.
Mm-hmm.
If you say your papers, please, especially when you do it in German, that pisses them off even more. And like, so you're saying that people are getting locked up and tortured to death and exterminated and burned in ovens? And it's like, way too. Here we go again.
Yeah, I just seen that. We just got tagged again.
I was like, way to go off to the end game instead of seeing how everything started, but close, very close. You're getting better. It's working. Fucking idiots.
Well, Brian must have saw it because he even mentioned that we got tagged.
Yep, we're being bad boys. We're getting tagged again. It's terrible.
I know who that person is sitting over there. It's like, these fuckers.
It does make you wonder, though. Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, it does. It makes you wonder who in the fuck is sitting there. Who's the poor bastard assigned to us? Because you never know what we're going to say. We might talk about something like that and then all of a sudden go into dick jokes. You just never know.
I was just getting ready to say, when's the dick jokes are coming now.
All over.
Brace yourself.
It's going to be like Hurricane Hugo's behind me. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what I want to play. You know what? This just fucking fits. I'm going to play this. We're only taking a break because one of us has got to make pee-pee.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Breaking the seal.
Yep, gotta.
Hey lefties, liberals, and progressives. This is not a safe space. I repeat, this is not a safe space.
If you are one of those squishies who are easily offended, put on your safety pins, pussy hats, and leave this radio station. Or you can free yourself and get educated.
Well, hell yeah! I tried to twist him up, but he wouldn't have it. Hell no! This old boy's wild. We about to have to keep this one.
You are listening to the Machine Radio Show with your hosts, Brandon
and Matt.
Talking about a bunch of hobos with fingers in each other's pooper in a stranger's car with talk radio playing really loud. It's going to be a nice evening.
Okay, shit just got real weird. I think I'm going to need a safe space.
What the? Are those friends of yours, Matt?
Oh, hell no.
Are you sure?
Oh, shut your dumpster and start the show already.
Well, all right, pissy pants. Let's do everything you want to do. Seriously, the Ruskies are in love with me tonight. Every time I look up, there's another tag on the tube. What the fuck? Matt, you want to start with this one since we started talking about the pokety poking?
The pokety pokes. So a Long Island teacher has been criminally charged after vaccinating a teen. Long Island biology teacher could face prison time for injecting a 17-year-old boy with the COVID vaccine at her home without his parents' authorization. And yes, there is a video of this.
Yes. Tim Pool just got swatted. Are you kidding me?
Jack Murphy strikes again.
Go ahead.
Then I guess that's Nassau. County Police Department said in a press release that the incident occurred at the Summit Avenue home of 54-year-old Laura Russo, a teacher at Herrick's High School. Cell phone video of the incident showed a teenager sitting on a stool at what appeared to be a kitchen counter. It also showed Russo swab the boy's arm with alcohol before she moved to the end of the counter to prepare the shot. And then you can hear another boy declare off camera, yay, there you go, at-home vaccine. Then Russo joked about giving the boy a tiny needle. It appeared in the video as though everyone was aware they were being filmed. But then the 17-year-old featured in the video went home and told his mother that Russo had given him the shot. The boy's mother called the police and reported what had happened.
Child endangerment.
Yep.
Among other things, yeah.
And, of course, Nassau County Police said the mother had not given permission or authority to have their son injected. Russo was arrested in Seacliff on New Year's Eve. Spent New Year's Eve in probably county jail. After an investigation was conducted, it was discovered that defendant Laura Parker Russo is not a medical professional or authorized to administer vaccine and was placed under arrest without incident. Wouldn't that be considered yeah. That's what I was going to say. She was charged with unauthorized practice of a profession under New York state education law. She was taken into custody without incident. If convicted, she could face up to 4 years in prison. She's scheduled to appear in court on January 21st.
Really?
Yeah. And the Nassau County School District said that Russo had been reassigned out of the classroom pending the outcome of the case. However, the school district stressed that the shot had not been administered on school property and the incident was not tied to the school. So they'll probably keep her employed. The individual in question is a district.
No, she should not be employed. She should be arrested and charged easily for that.
But, I mean, if she gets out, or if she's found not guilty, they'll keep her employed. The individual in question is a district employee who has been removed from the classroom and reassigned pending the outcome of the investigation. It wasn't known which vaccine Russo administered to the teen, nor where she obtained it. Thus far, there's only one that's been approved for people under the age of 18.
Yeah, Rockman, I literally just looked it up. It actually, yeah, he did get swatted, and it was on live on air. He kept hearing something. He took off his headphones and ran for the door, and it was it's not funny, but, still the fact that it happened.
No shit.
Yeah, and wow. That's great.
So apparently, of course, there is special training that is needed to administer these shots. Yeah, that's a good question too. So most of these things have to have ultra cold temperatures and specialized handling.
Yeah. But she just got a hold of one and just stabbed somebody with it.
Yeah, and it has to be thawed, mixed with a specific amount of saline for injection, and administered in a short time frame.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if that was my child, there would be hell on earth. I mean, I'd be like, you done fucked up.
Well, there's video of it, so it's probably it should be an automatic guilty.
Yeah, she needs to be sued and
prison
needs
time
to be charged and sued and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what was that? Let's see. That's just a tweet from somebody. Yeah, Angie says someone would be dead and I'd be in jail. Can't be in jail if there's no body.
We do live in a farming community.
Mm-hmm.
There's several pig farms within 5 miles of here.
So a couple of open mine shafts too.
We are in a mining community too, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of wood chippers laying around out here too.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
We could paint the landscape.
What makes the grass grow?
What makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. But anyway, yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, one, without, she did it without parental permission. She is not a nurse. She is not anywhere near a medical professional, and she gave somebody who knows what it could have been.
Yeah.
That's insane that she thought this was going to be okay.
I would like to know, like, what led up to this. Was the kid wanting it? Did she sucker him into it? Or...
Wait, are we still talking about the jab?
Yeah.
Because that sounded kind of dirty.
Well, I don't know what she proposed.
I mean, she could have said, I'll give you a handy J if you take this jab.
Yeah, she could have.
We don't know that. I mean, we've seen a lot of teachers, get busted for that, especially female teachers, which is odd.
Right?
Yeah, because when I was in school, I wouldn't have told on anybody. I'm like, what? I nailed the teacher. Yeah, I nailed the teacher, but I ain't fucking telling. I ain't gonna go tell on people. What the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing, kind of like what Angie was saying here is that, was this done against his will? I don't, there's like so many questions. But if she's scheduled to appear in court on January 21st, so it'll probably be a month or two after that, and there'll probably be a jury trial. This would be one I wouldn't mind keeping an eye on and following.
Yeah, I definitely I want to see more about this. Mm-hmm. I really do. But why does it always have to be New York? Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
it's always New York. Like, I'm gonna hurt some feelings here to all my because I do have friends that live in New York State and in New York City. Is it all the loonies that seem to go to like New York and California? Seriously, because it seems to be that's where all the insane shit keeps happening. And unfortunately, they meet in the middle, which is Chicago.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. Yeah, why does it happen in New York? And like you said, it's like the largest population of insane people. Oh, well, where do we go from here?
I don't know. It's a good question. We got almost nothing left. What do you guys want to talk about? We're running out of ideas. Okay, well, don't everybody talk at once. I got a question to ask you. Is there anything that isn't a symptom of the buggity bug? I got to ask that. I just need to know. I'm asking sincerely. Is there anything under the sun that is not a symptom of the bullshit? I'm asking that for a very specific reason. I just put it on the screen.
That's not a symptom?
Correct.
That's a good question. I don't think there's much out there.
Oh, I got a lot of room in that well. I didn't think about that. Brian's right. I could drop people in the well. Yeah. I know not having symptoms is one of the symptoms. No shit. But, people know about, about double pneumonia and stuff like that. The, bilateral and, I don't know how to say the fucking second word, but, it's bilateral pneumonia, which is double pneumonia. it is listed as a byproduct of the bug, apparently. So,
what, the pneumonia is?
Yes.
Or maybe it's just the simple fact it weakens your immune system enough that you just get it. I mean, it is some wicked shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is everybody seems to think that we don't believe it's real. We know it's real. We've fucking had it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't believe in the bullshit that is encompassed with it. How's that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I know one of my guys ended up getting it, and then it was like a week later, he ended up with pneumonia on top of it. So I mean, that I can understand because it hits you twice as hard. Because they're both upper respiratory.
Sorry, I was sidetracked. Yes. You just say something.
I don't know what else to say about it because there's nothing else. Because I mean, it basically has the similar symptoms as influenza and the common cold.
Well, and like the variant that they said there, everybody needs to hurry up and go get that booster for before it gets to here. And now it's here. Oh my God, there's so many people got it. Common cold. Follow me here, because they said nobody has been hospitalized or died from it, but it exists and it reads like a NyQuil bottle. I think that's what Fauci and his cohorts did. Is they went to the shelf and they were like, oh, sniffling, sneezing. Oh yeah, that's the new variant. They read the fucking NyQuil bottle.
Read Angie. Angie's got one that says it's not a symptom of it.
Erectile dysfunction is not a symptom. This is true.
I think it's a side effect. It can be a side effect though, is what I've heard.
What?
I've heard it could be a side effect. I don't know. I it could be bullshit too.
Well, then I'm questioning whether or not I actually had it then.
Well, not everybody's going to have side effects.
Well, I can just look down and talk to it, and it'll be like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" See, we go to dick jokes. Here we go.
Hey, we're getting old though.
Yeah, well, they said when you're younger, you have more of a propensity to walk around with a chub.
Mm-hmm.
I respectfully disagree.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could walk outside, look up Camaro, ping, stop it, down, boy. You're like, ooh, sock rubbed me the wrong way. I'm serious. I guess if the side effect is constant hard on, I'm okay with it. Go ahead.
I don't know about that, Brian. I don't think there has been.
No, there hasn't.
Because I haven't come across anything. And he was asking about if there's been anything coming out of the Supreme Court on mandates, like getting the stabby mandate. I don't know. I mean, I know two people right now that got it. I know the one definitely had it because I got a group chat with a bunch of friends, and he sent a fucking picture. He had like 5 layers of clothing on and like 6 blankets because he had the chill so bad.
Why didn't he just set himself on fire?
You don't know how bad I wanted to do that when because I was about the same way. I had like 4 layers of clothing.
Dick face, you're the one that gave it to me.
6. I didn't know I had it though because nobody knew what the fucking symptoms were.
Motherfucker for 2 weeks was sick as shit, gives it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I won't get sick. 3 days later, who's curled up in a ball? Asshole. Like, yep, it's me. I got it.
I had it. I started coming down with it at work. I had the fucking heat turned on to like as far as it would go. It was up to 86. I pulled out the second heater and turned it up to 82. And I still couldn't get warm. It was bad.
You know, we haven't played this song in a long time. We're gonna, and no, Brian, nothing has come out on that yet. I've been watching pretty much constantly on that, and nothing yet. I know we already addressed that, but I'm just saying that again because you know, it popped in my head. I was kind of going through what I was, you know, what I'd already remembered. No, there's nothing.
Yeah, I've not seen anything come forth.
No, not yet. But we'll be right back. Searching for a unique gift, something personalized for that special someone? Well, look no further. Skyscraper Vinyl offers a wide variety of custom-made products, sure to please even the most difficult person to buy a gift for. Skyscraper has anything from custom-etched glass products, vinyl decals, t-shirts, wood-based products, and even metal art. You can reach Skyscraper by phone at 217-827-7703 or visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/skyscrapervinyl. For handmade high-quality products, choose Skyscraper Vinyl. Hewitttville proud. And we're back, and our listener, Rockman there, I want you to elaborate on what you just asked, if you would, please, sir. He asked, what do you think about the growing schism between Trump supporters and patriots? Would you just kind of elaborate on what your thoughts are, and we'll respond. And Brian, every one of us has had the shot sharp fart. Just saying. Backlast area clear. Every once in a while, you got to paint the undies. Just, maybe that is a side effect, or maybe it's not. I mean, random sounder. I've been waiting to use that for a while too, and I haven't used it. Oh, hopefully he's still with us. Okay. He says, well, there's a growing frustration that Trump sold us out, and evidence seems to suggest this. I don't really see that he sold us out, is that he is, how to put it, Matt? Because we talked about this, because we thought the same thing. And we do and have in fact called him out on several things. I think he's more sticking to his guns as to what he said before Biden took over, as opposed to I guess selling us down the river. Although it does, he has a way with words. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. I get it. Well, I know his more rabid supporters don't like hearing it. I could give a fuck. Nobody's sacred in my mind. Not him, not anybody. So, definitely going to have to, agree on that. Well, his investments in Pfizer were before this even happened. That's kind of I can give him a mulligan on that one only because he was already involved in it long before this ever came up. So it was just kind of like a circumstance. It's not like when he was in office that he found out that we were going to have this and that Pfizer was going to do it and then bought stock in Pfizer. That's not what happened. I agree with you though. if you can believe that, I actually agree with you that that he is kind of smiling on his way to the bank with that. But Pfizer's also not the number one poke either. So
yeah, it's not the number one.
And yeah, like I said again, I get his more rabid supporters definitely don't like hearing it, but they didn't like anything that we said when we said derogatory. I'm sorry, I'm thinking in the mind of a progressive. I'm acting like a progressive right now. They didn't like it when we said something that we didn't, like, okay, he did something we didn't agree with, and we responded to that. It pissed them off. And I had to remind them that, yes, we endorsed Trump when he ran for office. We did, in fact, do that. But we hold everybody's feet to the fire, regardless of who they are. So when he did something wrong, we fucking said something about it. Mm-hmm. And I just cut Matt's head off again.
Oh, it's loose. That's why.
It's just every time I smack the desk, it just gets lower. Here, you just fix the camera and I'll tighten the thing up. Is that better? Yeah, you're not moving. Okay, good.
Yeah.
They got a really good look at the trash can, I guess. Is it too? Did I tighten it up too much now?
No,
okay.
It just needed to come down just a hair. So,
the BlackRock and the Treasury, I don't know enough about that to actually say anything about it. If that makes sense, I really don't know. I've written it down. I know I've written down notes on it because me and him have talked about it before, but I don't know enough about that. Tighten Matt's screws. That sounds dirty too. I mean, we were already saying that he looked less gay at the beginning of the show. Now we're talking about tightening a screw. Right back to dick jokes. All right.
Like, it's stripped. Yeah, I have. I just.
I was like, no, I'm not going to say it. All right. Good.
Yeah. Like, I just recently come across the whole BlackRock treasury thing, and I haven't even had a chance to delve into that.
No, we actually, yeah, it was like, did you hear about this type of thing where we said something like, yeah, I heard about it, but didn't really dig into it. Because I am a research hound. This poor bastard has been with me for many years. He knows for a fact that every chance I get, I am looking up or trying to understand something. And I've pestered the fuck out of him at great length while he's at work, mind you, about like, what do you think about this? Or what should, what would you say if this, if this happened? And he's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're like, I am walking around a military base with a gun. If I could shoot you, I would. Well, okay.
Or it'll be like, we'll be conversing, and then I have something come up, and there's this long pause, and he's like, you still there? And I'm like, yeah, give me a minute.
I'm at work, motherfucker. Yeah. So it's, and it's not always about current events either, because, when I mean research hound, there, the common misconception, and I've had people, actually go at me about this, like, well, how do you consider yourself a historian? I was like, I don't consider myself a historian. I've been called one. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, I don't just look at web pages for my information. I go to archives. I'm on the phone. I have FOIA, even FOIA requests or archive requests from around the world to find information that I think is relevant to what I'm looking at and writing my take on the historical perspective of that, of what's going on. And they're like, oh, because this one guy says he's I was like, no, he talks about history. He's not a historian. I was like, he's reading other people's shit and talking about it. There's a difference. I'm actually going out there and doing the job to figure out the information. That's why I've been called that. But either way, I had to say that because somebody was actually really confused as to what that meant, what historian and just, like history teacher versus historian actually meant.
Right.
Oh yeah. If you want to read that, go ahead.
Let's see. Start up with what he says about BlackRock.
Yeah.
Rockman says, BlackRock has been exclusively investing in woke companies, keeping them from failing, and its CEO, Larry Fink, was involved in the 2008 economic crash and would have been involved in the 2019 economic crash if not for the pandemic covering it up. All companies from Lucasfilm to Sony to the government itself as a corporation.
Right, I get that. I know what you're saying, and that's why, like I said, I couldn't really respond too much about it because all I knew was like the very minute part of it. Larry Fink was in fact being one of those parts, but it's kind of hard with something like this to really get down to the nitty gritty because it is considered along the lines of conspiratorial. And I really don't do that. If I can't touch and see the information, I generally don't dig too far into it. But out of interest, I am going to write that down, and maybe next week we will revisit the BlackRock comment and see what we can find.
Yeah,
because I was interested in it. I wrote it down for a reason. So yeah, we'll probably dig into that one. What else you got for me? And for him, he's still here. See, that's the reason why I got pissed all the time. I'm constantly drinking something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because of one, the medication that I'm on. 2, I got a mouthful of plastic. Doesn't actually, you know, do like your normal face does.
Well, your whole, like, you just had to leave at, was it second to last break? The coffee right before the show doesn't help either because it pulls moisture out of your body.
He's right, you know.
So.
Oh, no, I agree with that. And that's the reason why I said I want to dig into it and give you a proper assessment on it, how to, so to speak, because I don't have enough information on it to really dig into it that far.
Oh, that's bullshit. So I got his last message, but I didn't get the one before it.
Of course.
So I don't know what he said.
Well, he goes. He says. I believe this is the answer to why all the companies losing money because woke shit is still around. Well, we agree with that because the woke shit is what's causing people to go under. I mean, look, dude, even Coke, they saw what millions and millions of dollars just drop off instantly when they said try to be less white.
Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola.
You know, I still haven't worn that shirt for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I need to wear that next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna wear it just for the random shit.
Yeah.
There's a couple of shirts that I haven't worn anymore because they just lost their relevance.
Right.
That's kind of one of them, but I still like it. I still wear it. Everyone, I did wear it out to Walmart a couple of times.
Did you?
Just to see what people say. Yeah. That's how I test my shirts.
Well, that's like the free Kyle Rittenhouse one. I'd wear that one to Walmart quite often just to see if anybody would say anything.
Yep. Well, remember, I did do a sociological experiment with the flag. I put a Trump 2020 flag on my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 2 fish counters in there, one for yes, one for no. And it was a resounding yes. Everybody did like him, but there was a couple of no's, and I'm being big no's, like, standing out in the middle of the street screaming, fuck you and fuck that flag and all this other stuff. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched fuck you guy get arrested the other day. It's funny as hell. But yeah, no, I can agree with that. And speaking of woke shit, I want to talk about NASCAR for a minute. I'm a racing fan. I love racing. I love, all aspects of it. I mean, I'm really an open wheel fan, but NASCAR's, I used to be a fan of NASCAR, and I quit being a fan of NASCAR years ago because of the politics and everything else that got involved in it. And now, you had that poor driver who is the reason for the "Let's Go Brandon" chant, decided to say, fuck it. I'm gonna use the hand that's dealt and get me a sponsor. And he got a sponsor by a Bitcoin called FJB Coin. NASCAR agreed to allow the sponsor because they have to approve of them before he can actually use it. He had the cars done and everything else like that. Announced the partnership and everything else like that, and the sponsorship. And now NASCAR is caving again, saying, no, you can't do that because it's political. Meanwhile, you got Bubba Wallace, running around in a Black Lives Matter vehicle, but that's not politically motivated at all. It's amazing. And they became one of the woke, and they are losing money like a motherfucker because of it. NASCAR is dying. Why do you think they're switching the cars around? It's not necessarily because, okay, I'm going to go on a racing rant. I'm going to do it. When they started modifying the cars to make them stay together that tight and everything else like that, it looked more like slot cars, and it was fucking boring. Okay, and that move now they're suddenly saying, well, we got to change this because we're not getting any people watching because of the slot car racing. I'm like, well, no shit. But another one of the reasons why they are losing money left and right is because they're pulling stuff like this, and they're, yanking off Wallace, and doing that whole political thing where they the woke. I'll just put it that way. They're one of the woke companies now. And it's pathetic. I mean, the roots of NASCAR have nothing to do with what it is today. It's a bastard child of what it was. It used to be the best man with the best car won. Now it's whoever happens to be up front. because if you look at the leaderboard and stuff like that, there's little to no chance of anybody in the back. They've if you start at 15th place, you're probably going to stay 15th. You might get to 12th, maybe 11th, then the maximum 10th, but you ain't going any farther because you ain't got the power and you're driving a slot car. But all right, that's my rant. Go ahead. You got anything for me?
Oh, the whole woke things. It's got its fingers into everything.
I see what you did there. We went from dick jokes to fingerings. Okay, go ahead.
So it doesn't matter what your passions or your hobbies are. It's you can find it in there. I think we just got to continue pushing to get it out. I don't know. 'Cause I run through shit in some of my hobbies and stuff too, and it's like all you're doing is you're just ruining it. You know, you're going to lose most of your fan base.
Correct.
And then everything that you have is just going to go under.
Well, and the funny thing is they actually believe that going woke is what's popular, so therefore they're going to get more people, and then they're finding out it's actually the opposite. There's a lot less people to give a flying shit about the fact that you want to call yourself a toaster.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gives a damn about your 55,000 fake genders and your pronouns. Nobody gives a fuck. That's on you. We don't really give a shit. Most people don't. And the whole, everything is racist is also the whole, it's going bass backwards on them real quick too. Or of course, like we said with that lady in the book, everything's racist and patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
The patriarchy from someone who definitely dolls herself up. Way to be with the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I need to finish up my glass here.
I think everybody died.
That was weird.
What?
Well, because I've got YouTube pulled up over here, and all of a sudden it paused on its own.
It does that.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's weird. Yeah. I actually had a couple of our listeners tell me that one week that, unlike your... Okay, your camera's still working. I was like, you stopped moving again. I'm like, I looked over. I'm like, no, not again.
That was freaky last week too. Camera kept freezing up.
Hey, now that I'm out of the Facebooky jail, I got to post that photo.
Oh yeah.
Because remember, we got one of me too. Like, what are the guys thinking? Wrong answers only. We got to do stuff like that. So if you want to get involved with the show and have Facebook, you can do that. We do not have an actual website because we're poor. So we got the free shit that unfortunately locks us out for 30 days at a time. But we got a couple photos we're going to put up there, and we're going to put wrong answers only, on underneath them, and you'll get the fucking joke when you see the photo.
Yes.
One is of him and one is of me, and neither one of us have figured out what the hell we were doing at that point. It's just bizarre. And I'll probably post it on like Twitter and stuff like that too. And I did make a funny earlier. I forgot I was going to show you this before we got on air. But I was doing some maintenance on some of the equipment, and was actually wearing a mask.
Really?
Yes, but there was a reason why I was wearing it, and you'll get the joke though. But
You gotta ask yourself, why is he wearing that mask? Is it for the cobras?
I was changing the filters on the blast cabinet on the so you know that stuff is as a fine powder, and when it gets in the air, it actually is like it's silica, so it causes silicosis really fucking quick.
Yeah, shit, you definitely don't want to breathe.
And even when I'm changing the lens in the cabinet, even though I'm not blasting around or anything else like that, I still got to stick my head in the cabinet to make sure the thing's online and everything. So I put that on. And somebody saw me with it today. They stopped by and like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, you know, just preparing for the vids." And they're like, "Smart ass." I'm like, "Thank you." But I was like, I hurried up and did that. I was like, I haven't even posted that yet. I forgot that I can actually post things now. So that's probably going to come up too. But I think we are actually done for the night. We didn't really have anything else to say. We didn't have much of anything to say, and we somehow managed to still use 2 hours. We can bullshit about anything. That is great. That's why I love doing it, actually, because we can do anything. I mean, we can say anything and make a fucking 2-hour show out of it. The gift of bullshit. All right. But that being said, we are definitely out of here for tonight. I would like to thank everybody for joining us once again, and we will be back next week, much to the dismay of the left and anybody else who, doesn't like the freedom of speech, I guess. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys.
See ya.